What's up guys, Travis here again with Team LTB. This time of the year, we're moving into the spawn. These fish are moving up shallow into this thick vegetation. So I'm gonna break down two of my favorite techniques using LiveTarget's two different frogs. We've got the popper style frog, and then we've got their traditional weedless style frog. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to use these two different lures in a majority of the different situations you're gonna see this time of the year. So let's start with rigging and get on with it. First, let's start with the line. I always use braided line because it floats and also because there's no stretch, so I can really have a lot of control over this bait. Then I spool that up on, so I use 50 to 60 pound braid. Then I spool that up on a bait casting reel. Really doesn't matter the gear ratio because you're fishing top water. Then I pair that up with Castaway's 6'5" medium rod. I've got a nice soft tip so I can really work that bait, but also I want this shorter rod so I can actually just make twitches straight down. If I had too long of a rod, it would actually be hitting the water and I'd have to go to the side. But when you're twitching it down like this, you can really get the action you want, because the idea is to get that bait making a lot of noise, moving back and forth, and really pulling those fish out from cover and stuff to come up that open water and hit this bait. Now the setup for this more traditional weedless frog is just gonna be a heavier setup. So I go to 60 to 80 pound braid, so I can really horse these fish out of this thicker structure, and then it really doesn't matter the gear ratio on the reel, and then I spool that up on Castaway's 7'2" mag medium heavy rod. I need a stiff rod to really be able to yank these fish out, because if I hook up in here, I've got the toolies, grass, all kinds of stuff, and I've really got to be able to get that hook set in there so then I can really apply the pressure and get that fish out. There we go. Yes, there we go. Just blitzed it. Holy cow. It just watched this bait kind of come over those toolies, or a bunch of lay down toolies, and because this bait's weedless, I'm able to just crawl it over and slowly work it along. But once it paused, it was sitting there. Holy cow, this thing just smoked it. When we're talking about retrieval, we've got to understand where we want to throw each of these baits. All right, guys, so this is a great example of where I can use the two different baits. So these little pockets where I've got these toolies and stuff pushed in, perfect for that weedless frog. I can cast it right into that thick stuff, and I can slowly crawl it over. You'd be amazed the fish that'll hide underneath that stuff, and as you're slowly working it over, it looks like a little critter, a little frog scurrying along, and once you hit the water right there, kaboom! Now for the more popper style frog, I'm gonna be using this in open water. As you can see, we have these exposed treble hooks, so we have a high percentage hook set on this, but we don't wanna use this in the weeds. We wanna use this in open water. So if we've got weeds that are a couple feet below the surface, or if we've got vertical structure and stuff, because these fish are really gonna be relating around that vertical structure, we can use that popper bait to walk it, and it's really gonna be kicking up water and making a lot of commotion, which is gonna draw those fish's attention in, and they're gonna come up and hammer this bait. So really, we have two different baits to cover the different situations we're gonna run into. The weedless one to really throw in that heavy cover, but then when we're working the edges of these tooling lines or the edge of the weed lines where we got a little bit more open water that we're trying to pull the fish out, then we go to the popper style frog. But in either scenario, we have obviously the lifelike detail of LiveTarget, which is crucial when you're really trying to slow these baits down. That's gonna make the difference that fish really actually committing to it, or maybe just coming up and nosing at it. All right, guys, when we're talking about location, you really got to understand what's on these fish's mind right now. The water's heating up, and these fish are thinking about moving up to spawn. So they're really going to start moving shallow and scouting out different areas. Bass don't feel comfortable in just clear open water. They want to be around structure and stuff so they can hide under it, whether it's toolies, grass, any kind of cover that they can go tuck underneath. They will feel more comfortable, and that's where the bigger ones are really going to relate to. All right, guys, here's a quick tip. During the spawn, fish want hard bottom. So if you got a nice little riprap bank like this is perfect for them to make their beds. And now we've got the vegetation all up against that. That's where they're going to be relating in this area, because they want that vegetation to hide around and really be able to move up shallow and feel comfortable. When you understand what these fish are doing, they're moving up shallow, they need the vegetation and stuff to really hide in and feel comfortable up shallow, you really understand the importance of some of these topwater frogs. So the LiveTarget weedless bait, weedless frog and the topwater popper are just perfect baits to really be able to feel out and search these shallow water areas efficiently this time of the year and find some of those big old females up there looking to feed and spawn. Once again, guys, I'm Travis with Lucky Tackle Box. If you enjoyed the video, give us those thumbs up. You know, give us 2 thumbs up. Even though I'll give you 1, I'll give you credit if you tap it twice. And also hit the subscription button. And for any of the gear we used in this video, hit the link below. Peace. Even the little fish gotta eat, right? Whoa. Come here, buddy. Like a little sardine.